Hello, everyone. My name is Masa Inakage. I'm the Dean of Keio University Graduate School of Media Design, or Keio Media Design. We call it KMD. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. We're excited to spend about 1 hour with you to show you around about the unique features of KMD and what we do and why we do. So let's get started. So let me share my slide screen. Here we go. Okay, so I hope you can see the slide. This is the building where we have the headquarters and train station called Hiyoshi, which is about 15 to 20-minute local train ride from Shibuya, where it's the center of Tokyo. So we're very conveniently located. As we're experiencing a very unexpected situation suddenly because of this virus outbreak, now we're starting to think, were there signals that we can actually predict this to happen? And some people say, yes, it already started this signal a few months ago. It's not only about this outbreak. All these geopolitical conflicts, economic crisis, there are other things that surrounds us. Also, the natural climate change is another way of looking at something that we always say, oh, it's unexpected, oh, it's unthinkable that this could happen. But if you pay attention to all the details and nuances of what we call weak signals, we can actually feel and understand this might actually going to happen. So this is a time where the leaders and individuals need the ability to read signals and even to make new waves that we want to see into the future. So we are in the era of requiring new perspective about the society and the business terminology called new normal. We know that this outbreak will be ending sometime in the future. And the question is, are we going back to the society as it was before the outbreak? Or do we want to see some changes? And if so, what would be the new or desirable society after the outbreak is over? When we started KMD in 2008, we also did this kind of reading the future, and we thought there will be a creative society coming up. And we're also already seeing this evidences, as you can see, some snapshots of our everyday life in different parts of the globe. I think this will continue and accelerate as this creativity becomes a central force of our dream future. We are here to educate and train students for them to prepare to become a global leader. And we call them media innovators. They should be able to think creatively through global lens and come up with innovative ideas and projects. Especially under this COVID-19 situation and after this post-COVID-19, we believe the word creativity will include three important literacies. One is the ability to read, imagine the future, and act today, which is called futures literacy, coined by United Nations, UNESCO. The second literacy is around media literacy. As we are experiencing this social distancing situation, we cannot really meet face to face, and all the economic and non-economic social activities are done online, connecting each other through the power of media. To make the new society more vibrant and desirable, we need more innovative thinking and approach that's not really repeating and extending what we've been doing today or yesterday. So that this leads to innovation literacy. So KMD is still focusing on this idea of creativity and innovation, and we believe this will be enhanced and become more and more important after the COVID-19 is ceased. KMD has two official languages, English and Japanese. We have multiple physical locations headquartered in Hiyoshi, as I explained at the very beginning. Our activities are centered around project that looks for impact. As a result of the strategic decisions made more than 10 years ago, we currently have over 60% of students represented internationally, coming from multiple different regions of different culture, different way of thinking, different value sets, which makes it very diverse. Additionally, we also accept students from different disciplines. And additionally, we have students representing different age groups. So it's a very diverse and rich community to enjoy to become KMD family member. To make use of this diversity of people, we do everything collaboratively, and we call radical collaboration. As I said, we are headquartered in Hiyoshi, and with many of the fascinating facilities physically available to you after the university closure is over. However, we also enjoy collaboration between National University of Singapore to have a space in Singapore called CUTE Center. We also have physical spaces in Tokyo and western part of Japan, Osaka City. Recently, last year, we started to do activities with a group of people called Shibuya Qs, very conveniently located right in front of the Shibuya station. The famous Shibuya crossing is right in front of us. Later this year, we will be opening up another high-rise district called Takeshiba in Tokyo by the Bayfront. And in their building, we also have our own property to do exciting projects. So physically apart, we are not meeting every day in one location, but we're spread out into different locations. Therefore, from the initial starting in 2008, we are relying on this power of connectivity and media. We had a class taught by Pixar Animation Studios from San Francisco, streamed live. Also, we allow students to make their final thesis presentations remotely. We do lots of collaboration between different companies and organizations outside of Japan that forces us to do collaborations remotely as well. In end of January this year, before the outbreak of COVID-19 started to become serious in Japan, we already had this weak signal. We don't want everyone to have a fear of joining physically. So we allow students to join us remotely for the plenary meeting, which is one of the important events end of the term of showcasing all the project activities between KMD families. In March this year, now in the midst of the COVID-19 outbreak and the super soft lockdown of people should stay at home, we did our commencement online to celebrate our graduates. Now we're in the campus lockdown. The Keio University campuses are closed. During this closure, we still want to be as active as in the physical
Inakage 先生、Inakage 先生の映像が止まっています。Inakage 先生。Inakage 先生が帰ってくるまで少々お待ちください。はい、Inakage 先生戻りました。それではよろしくお願いします。続き。
はい。Can you see my slide?
Not yet.
Okay, so I need to redo this. Hold on. Okay. How about now?
Looks okay.
Okay. All right. So I don't know where I left off, but so the important part of university being student is to also meet up with exciting peer students and to socialize. So now we also have this distance socializing activities online very actively so that students can enjoy meeting up each other, talking about different topics from informal to formal topics. From the start of KMD in 2008, we capture and record all the classes and all the students have access to all these classes from the past. The upper right image is the sort of the before COVID-19, the class archive of my class, and the bottom right is how we started to archive the online education as of now. At KMD, we always use and make importance of the impact. There are three impacts for KMD. Of course, as a higher education, we try to contribute academically, so its academic impact is very important. We want to go beyond the academic contribution into the real society. So from the business lens, economic impact is really launching products and services to commercialize it or start companies or start new industry anything that has to do with economic activity or business activities. Of course, our society is not only made up of businesses, and there are things that we care about for non-business activities to make our community very interesting and meaningful. So social impact to eliminate some of the problems in front of our society is part of our duties and interest. Some examples of to depict what we mean by impact. So this is normal eyewear, but it has lots of sensors embedded, and now it's commercialized. The eyewear can detect eyewear's stress level and emotional change and many of the things about the person. UGB is sort of a farmer's tool of autonomous vehicle that will follow the farmers around in the farm to carry heavy loads of stuff, but also can collect lots of data regarding farming. It was prototyped. Now the company is registered in Japan and trying to commercialize the product. We work closely and have a legal contract with the city of Sabae in Japan. The city is known for Japanese lacquer for the Japanese kitchenware, but the industry is in decline, so they approached us to come up with something very novel to revitalize the industry and therefore the Sabae city as well. And we're excited to work closely with this kind of very strategic policy and business related activities in real life. So how do we do all these things? The first thing we do is to think about coming up with ideas, but all the ideas we generate, we are responsible for translating into something tangible or intangible. Products, services, content. We also make business models, we make companies, we make industries. We want to make city or districts. We also try to contribute of changing legal framework or policies or laws. All of these list of different parts of make culture is part of KMD activities. Of course, some of the make activities require equipment and facilities. We have minimum but important tools so students and teams can have access to realize the idea and translate it into something tangible. Likewise, in the classroom, it's not straight lectures. Mostly it's about discussion, have them prototype, come up with some ideas in the classroom as well, as you can see in the slide. We also go out of the campus because that's where the actual society and community happens. So we go out to the field work, to do the field work, observing the situation, listening to people's voices by doing interview. We also collect some kind of numerical data if that's important. Anything that's outside of campus into a real life is part of our way of achieving the goal. But of course, it requires our power of creativity, and in particular, imagination is really, really important. Come up with genuine ideas or unique ideas to make the situation better. So we pose ourselves some somewhat crazy or imaginary situation. What if we have 4 arms instead of 2? And so this project depicts what happens if we have 4 arms. What do we do with them? KMD is a graduate program or postgraduate program that has both master's degree track and PhD, the doctoral track. For the master's degree track, has a semi-structured approach of required courses, electives, and projects. So students have to go through some of the requirements to take courses to understand the basics of skills and hard and soft skills and thinking. On the other hand, the PhD or doctoral program consists of more of you independent researcher to work on the cutting edge research of your topic interest. Of course, as a main supervisor faculty, we need to be able to mentor the topic of interest. Because we only have a handful of faculties on board, we cannot cover all the possible topics of research interest. And therefore, we ask applicants to talk to our our faculties to see if there's a good match between our faculty and your research topic interest before you apply. So do so immediately. If you don't know how to contact or whom to contact, please send us a emails through our website and mention about your research interest, and we try to find somebody who's a good fit, and then you can directly communicate before you apply. And if you the main supervisor agrees, then you can apply to our program. So sometimes we want to have a specialized program that is very important in the society at the moment. Sorry, this slide is in Japanese. It's called SecCap. Security is an important theme in this media literacy world of connectivity. Service design is another topic of interest by the Japanese government, as shifting from tangible product manufacturing to more service-oriented industry. So we're trying to train leaders of tomorrow in the sector of service. KMD enjoys partnering with global institutions, and so we have 2 residential programs and 2 short programs. The first residential program is called Global Innovation Design, or GID in short. The partner in London are Royal College of Art and Imperial College London. The partner in New York and US is Pratt Institute. So our student, GID student at KMD, will travel in the fall term first to London and then off to New York in the spring. So it's 2 semesters abroad. This program is not only designed for design background or art background students, but we try to encourage non-design or art background students to join the club to understand the power of design using your hand to make things. Another residential program is called CEMS, C-E-M-S. It's a business school community of 32 elite universities around the globe. Only one university can be admitted to become this consortium member per country. So Keio University is representing Japan, HEC or HEC is representing France in Paris. LSE, London School of Economics, is representing UK, for example. Here, students will travel 2 semesters abroad, perhaps 1 semester in Stockholm and 1 semester in Sydney. As you can see, the size. Excuse me. Sorry. So another non-residential short program is called EBA, which stands for Evidence-Based Approach. We're partnering with ASEAN or Asian universities to spend about 4 weeks to go to one field, collect data, recommend the solution. Another second non-residential program, a short program, is with Stanford University in the US. And this program looks for 6 weeks in total, 2 weeks in Stanford, 2 weeks in Japan at KMD, and 2 weeks in the middle, trying to do things remotely together. However, KMD's real value and unique value offering is around real project. The reason we call it real project instead of research projects that many universities and graduate programs are offering is that our goal of project is not to publish academic papers and present in conferences. Of course, we do that for academic excellence, but we want to go beyond the capacity of academic contribution. We do prototyping and we learn from failure. We try to improve the prototypes as much as we can to aim for deployment into the real society in the form of commercialization, starting companies, or non-business social contribution. It's important we design this project goal in such a way that it's not only for academic contribution. As of April 2020, we hired new excellent faculties on board. So we are restarting our program fresh in a sense. And there are exciting 11 real projects. The first one is called Play. It looks for the power of playfulness and looking into near future using what we call dream-driven design or foresight. Policy project is looking for projects around how to change the society and how to make it better through the framework of policy and change of legal framework. Also looking at kids and creativity and conducting multiple workshops so that we can ensure the kids become super creative, and when they become adult, we enjoy the creative society. Samkara is a project that looks at biodesign and sustainability around circular economy and circular design. So their focus really is about how to cope into the planet of the future. Global education, the guest professor today is actually leading this program. So I will let her explain, but as you can see from the name, the project is looking at connecting different institutions around the globe to make interesting, exciting education for kindergarteners, K-12 education, higher education, but also lifelong learners. Network Media Project is looking at connectivity of like us to being connected right now, but there's a field called Internet of Things or IoT that things can be also connected to the net and do collaboration between things and things or machines to machines. But what if we can extend this idea even further to connect everything? What can we do and what would be the society be, and what are the some unknown problems that we need to overcome? Creative industry is looking at cultural industry of different regions. They focus on projects around Japan and the non-urban areas. As I already explained about the Japanese lacquer industry, they're also looking at this Wagyu beef industry in Japan in Kyushu. Geist is a project. The word Geist is a German word which translates to ghost in English, but also there's a second meaning called mindfulness. And so Geist project is actually using this mindfulness aspect of the project to design technology to sense people's hidden needs and emotional change and stress and all that to amplify the sense of wonder. Itoma is a new project starting from April. The project looks for community of shopping districts to the general community of aging society. How can a new community be formed through the lens of design? Creato is a project that looks for intersection between the physical activities and virtual activities. From the technical point of view, but also from a very cultural rich point of view of otaku, as you can see, obviously, from this slide. Embodied media is a group of people looking at the power of our embodiment or our body, how our gesture translates to the meaning, how can we sense different parts of our bodies or five senses, can we send information of our tactile sensation to somebody away from you over the net. These are the topic of interest. They also looking into this futuristic idea. What if we have tail, which we don't, like other animals? Future Crafts is a new project, again, starting from this April, that looks at different types of material, physical materials, but what is the notion of digital materials that we can touch only in the virtuality? They look for different projects around toys, artistic expressions, and also looking at different ways of combining physical and digital materials for crafting. As evidence that we to show that these projects are not only looking for academic excellence, we have some evidences of graduates doing startups. The first startup is called Ready4, which is the Japanese crowdfunding company. The CEO of Ready4 is the co-founder of the company, and she is a graduate of KMD. Teleexistence Inc. Is also co-launched by KMD and other universities and research institutions, and looking for creating robots that can be remotely operated. Daily is a startup that looks for daily life products. And so it's a lifestyle company. They have shops, a retail store in Taipei and Tokyo. So before I invite our guest professor, I just want to mention how to apply to KMD. There are 3 application periods in a year, period 1, period 2, and period 3. And we have 2 intake periods when you can join us. One window is April for master students. Because of the required courses, we assume these April intake students can understand the language of Japanese. And likewise, for the September intake, we do everything in English. For the PhD track, you can join either April or September because there's no required courses. We just assume you can speak either Japanese or English or both. We look for potential ability of becoming this future media innovators. We look for some of the hard and soft skills that might relate to KMD activities today, but we rather want to see your ability to envision the future and the potential talent of looking broadly about the society. For those of you who are non-Japanese and trying to apply, we also look for your English and Japanese fluency. So please show and prove your score of fluency. For the GID and CEMS program, I want you to visit our website and read thoroughly. There are additional documents to apply and secure your seats to become GID student and CEMS student while you are also part of the KMD student. For GID and CEMS, because you will be away for 2 semesters out of 4 semester master's degree program, we require GID and CEMS students to extend the residency of KMD by 1 semester. So it becomes 2.5-year program. So be noted that you need to invest your time and a little bit additional tuition to be part of GID and CEMS. Even under this restricted measure environment of today, we are continuing to actively work on the projects. So the recent announcement released on April 10th, my play project in collaboration with a cultural center called Spiral in Tokyo have launched this project, and we are still actively working together online. So KMD enjoys the physical collaboration, but also can do everything online. And of course, we can enjoy both virtuality and physicality. So with this, my slide is over. So let me invite my guest professor, Professor Keiko Okawa. Welcome on board, Keiko-san.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me to the session today.
Yes, so let's begin with understanding a little bit of your background, and you can also talk about global education and perhaps EBA program.
Okay. I came from originally engineering department. I was I was researching about internet, and after graduating master's program, I started to work in education and ICT, and I was teaching the computer at the company. After that, I started to go into the computer industry and worked for about 10 years in Silicon Valley and Tokyo based company. And I've been doing ICT and human being and education. So I I like technology, but I like human beings and I like education. That's why I'm here. And after 10 years working, I decided to go back to school and to get the PhD so that I can do a little bit more wider perspective in education and ICT. And after getting PhD successfully, I continuing to work with students and faculty members in Keio University. And I was conducting a very interesting university collaboration program covering all over Asia, utilizing internet and education. And now in KMD, I'm leading a project called Global Education. As Masa introduced, global education is to nature global citizens who can design and contribute to the future global society. And global society is something that we really got after we get the internet infrastructure. Before that, all kind of global was more like an international and nationality and relationship with nations. That was how we managed in the past. But in a global society with a digital communication infrastructure, it is truly global. So we realize the world is changing. And once world is changing, every human activities has to change. So our team's role is to design a new learning style and new lifestyle on the global society. And I think this is coronavirus things force us to think about what is global and what is the global society, and what is the risks, what is the benefits, and what we could do, what we can contribute to. So we are another wave of changing, I feel, as a global society perspective.
Thank you. It's interesting you mentioned the human being aspect. I read some interesting article online and that describes Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, mentioning in the era of AI, before this is COVID-19, it was last year, mentioning about the robots and artificial intelligence, the computing power is going to dominate many of the current jobs that we do as human beings. So he believes that the humanness of creativity and all these aspects of how we can enjoy art and generate new ideas are part of us that cannot be done by the machines and robots as of today. So I completely agree with Jack Ma and also echo your idea of importance of human being and humanness. I also think we learn many things from nature. We think internet was invented and we are human beings are so great as a civilization. But if you look closely to nature, all the trees have roots underground, and they are connected. And so they are actually created many years ago about this internet in the natural settings. So
True.
it's interesting how we think human beings are great species, but in reality, the nature has been with us for a long time, and there's so many things we can still be inspired and learn from nature. So I think it's the era of human beings and humanness, but at the same time, it's also the era of living species. And how can we coexist? Uh, and this also leads to the topic of many people's interest: how to sustain our important planet.
Hmm.
Mm. So in this COVID situation, do you think after the COVID is over with the vaccine and medicines being rolled out, do you think we are going back to how it was before as a society, which is some people believe, oh, it's so stressful, we just want to enjoy how it was before? Or do you think now that we learn many things, that things can be done online, now going back how it was before is not really a desirable way of thinking the future? Um, do you have any view on this?
we we will not go back to the situation exactly the same as we before, because we know how we can do better in a new environment like this. And also, we do understand the importance of the nature, importance of the community, and I think we learned a lot through this process. So human beings are kind of different from, I think, different from the one we used to be already. And this situation for the educational education perspective or university perspective, this is not the situation. Coronavirus was very difficult, but the environment that we have right now is not, we can call, unfortunate. I think this is more like a changes, and we can enjoy the new environment, and we could adapt in a better way. One thing I'm a little bit afraid of is, in order to survive this environment, people tend to be more like a local focused, and like a block out. I mean, blocking the borders is the best things. That's what some people believes, and in some way, it is. But that reminded me a very old story about, not old, but the very first virus on internet 20, 30 years ago. That happens on the internet. And at that time, only universities were connected. And every universities got into panic mode. And some university closed and shut down the network. But some university tried to keep connection to communicate with others. And those universities with a keeping connection survived and recovered faster than the one blocked. So I think the connecting, we already connecting too much, and it is sometimes problemsome. But how we how we solve the problem is also on top of somewhere that connected. So that's so I really like to make sure we understand the importance of the globalness and importance of the community and connection.
I definitely agree to this. World Economic Forum also coined the term globalization 4.0, and I think the word globalization initially was, hey, we get connected and we are one team. Yes, that's nice, and it is true, but does it mean we want to see all the cities look alike and repeat ourselves, and it becomes one homogeneous thing? Or do we really enjoy different regions with different culture, different history, and different value sets, and enjoy the difference. But because of the difference of the diversity of difference, collaboration makes more sense because then we have multiple lenses to tackle the problem and work together.
True.
And so I think the word globalization needs to be redefined to better
Mhm.
fit for the current situation and the after situation as well. Great.
Yes, I agree.
All right. So I forgot to mention if the listeners, the viewers have any questions to us right now, you're welcome to type in your question and it will appear on my screen and both of us can collectively answer your question to clarify. So I already have a few questions in front of me, so I will read them and then answer. And if not, Keiko Sensei can also answer. So I'm very interested in pursuing deeper skills within the media design landscape, but I have a background in economics, business related major. What can be a seamless fit and or the right way to begin? As explained in my presentation, we accept admit students from almost every possible disciplines. We had students from medical school, conservative music, philosophy, dentistry. So anybody are welcome to join the club. The important common thread is that we want everyone to be very passionate and thinking about the future, be curious beyond your topic of training. So if you are interested in many different things and work together with other people, you're on the right path. Therefore, even if you have the economic background but interested in media design landscape, of course, there are so many people like you. And so yes, we believe as long as you have a wider view of interest and enjoy different perspectives to collaborate with others, I think KMD might be a good fit. Do you agree, Keiko Sensei?
Yes.
Okay, so moving on to the second question. Given the global coronavirus pandemic, what is the KMD's educational contingency plan for the 2020-2021 school year? Currently, visa holders are banned from entering Japan. That's right. There's a hard wall. What happens if these restrictions are not lifted before the start of the academic semester? I hope you mean by September. Is KMD offering a deferral option for those who have been accepted for 2020's start and to decide to join later on? So the first question is about no one knows what's going to happen with this pandemic. There are lots of experts discussing when things can be ceased. Is probably when the virus medicine is actually widely available into the marketplace. Also, the vaccine is very important for precautious measure of not getting infected. And this takes about a year to 18 months, depending on people's definition. So until that happens, we are in a very unstable state. Uh, Government tries to balance between people's health and safety. At the same time, they also worry about the economic crisis not to too deepen, because then the economic crisis will make lots of companies bankrupt and losing jobs and another way of getting different types of social problem. And so we don't know when the measures restrictions are lifted. If once it's lifted, will it be stay lifted or will go back to the lockdown status when the number of infectants increase once again? There's also a prediction that end of the year, like December or early next year, there will be even bigger outbreak from the lessons learned from the past, like the Spanish flu. The first wave was bad enough, but the second wave, about a year later, hit even bigger outbreak happened. So we don't know what's going to happen with this COVID-19. However, as explained in the presentation, we are prepared for both scenarios. If everything goes well, we will reopen the campus and enjoy the physical socialization and doing projects together. But even in those times, we are prepared to do everything online or do a hybrid of using both powers. And I think we now learn that this online education and collaboration might be even better than doing everything physically. So we try to come up with a new scheme of education and research and project collaboration using both virtuality and physicality. Keiko Sensei, anything to add?
Well, yes, we are very creative, including students and faculty. Both try to do the better way, understand this environment from technical point of view and also social point of view, so we can create a better learning experience on the new environment, I'm sure.
Right now, as the class already has slowly started, and many students are banned from coming into Japan, and even if they're in Japan, they're forced to stay at home. So it doesn't matter where you are. So I don't think this will really damage our education and collaboration at all.
Yeah.
But even
Also,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, some of the classes already started, and I see more interactivity than the classrooms in some classrooms. So I'm optimistical, but I think we can do it.
Yes. And then the second part of this question is KMD offering the referral option? And the answer is yes. For the detail, please contact us and we can explain to you what we mean by deferral option. Okay, so question number 3 here is, what are some of the interesting reasons you've heard from your current and past students of going back to school and especially choosing KMD after being in the workforce for some time? I think maybe I can come up with one example and Keiko Sensei can come up with another example to be specific. So one student I remember very strongly about is the student had education and filmmaking, and she joined KMD because KMD is also doing sort of a future of filmmaking. But the student decided to go on the CEMS program to learn business, international business. And as a result, the student after graduation got lots of offer from companies, but decided to work for video streaming service company because this combines the student's background in filmmaking interest and also doing business and in IT. So I think this kind of coming back to school because of looking for different skills and augment your capacity as a workforce could be a strong reason why you might want to come back. And KMD can offer innovative thinking, not only the hard skill, but the mindset and the way of thinking and approaching for the future society. Keiko Sensei, what about your example?
There are so many students, very interesting, after some of the work already done in a workplace. One example is school teacher, retired, and I think it was quite challenging because totally new technology. After retired, he was teaching um, social studies in junior high, and retired and came back to KMD to learn new word with the ICT and new teaching style and new learning style. And although he's already retired, going after graduating, he continued to teach or in the learning arena for sustainable development goals. And so using their own career and using a new experience in KMD and he got both as a tool to go back to the working place. So I think it is, no matter how old you are, I think we have a lot of opportunity.
Right, thank you. There's one more question here. I would like to ask about making projects like games and applications. It is possible to create projects like this during studies. So the 11 projects are really cluster of projects, and inside each project, there are what we call sub-projects that are partnering with external organizations. For my play project, I have a partner in Sweden and also South Korea. They are related to the playfulness and innovative futuristic thinking, but on different topic of interest based on company's mission. Um, however, sometimes we get offers from companies and we agree. Occasionally, we have some students pitching ideas that they want to do and also bring in some of the potential external partner. There was a student in the past who worked as a florist, as a designer, flower designer, and joined KMD and came to my project. And he had a concern of, in Japan, the florist industry was in decline because not many younger generations are sending bouquet of flowers to each other. And so he said, well, it's an interesting topic, but I'm not sure if I'm the right person. The student approached the big florist network company and CEO and convinced. And so now he said, well, we have a partner. And naturally that project started. And at the end of the project, the company actually commercialized the idea of social flower gifting. And so occasionally things can be done, but not every student are expected to come up with ideas and start their own projects and launch some products and services. But it also depends on the project's faculties. I think global education, you have each student's unique point of view of projects, right?
Yes, games is a very important tools right now in education. So some of our students are working on the games, but the development itself cannot be the goal. More like there's a purpose in our team, and the game is a tool for pursue that purpose. So we are welcome to creative way, including games and applications.
The important part of our projects is to design something cutting edge or something that contributes to better future. So we don't want to repeat ourselves what's going on in the industry. Like the game industry is also moving fast, and we don't want to just say, oh, we want to create another game like this, because then the companies are better positioned to make the game develop faster and at the highest quality. But if we're trying to say, oh, these games are already out there, but it doesn't satisfy this particular needs, and game companies are not looking at those aspects of possible future games, and therefore KMD can propose and present something for the game industry. Then it becomes a very viable, interesting, challenging project for KMD. Yeah.
Also, we have game faculty members like
That's right.
Raitoma something.
Professor Tetsuya Mizuguchi, who's well-known game designer, producer, is part of our faculty members. So that shows that we have great interest in games. Okay, I believe the list of questions are all done. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope you will stay safe and healthy, but at the same time, think about your future career paths and if KMD be a good vehicle for you to grow, and then we welcome you to join the club. So thank you very much again, and goodbye.
Waiting for you. Bye.